Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. We have a great show for you today. Before we even get to the recap screen, I want to remind you it's Wednesday, so we've got the college football preview with such an all-star cast. It's Emery Hunt, it's Chip Patterson, it's Mike McClure, it's Eric Cohen hosting college football week 3 preview on CBS Sports Network today at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Big Cheesy, I see you in the chat. You dropped a ton of picks in the chat yesterday, and it looks like you went 4-1. Speaking of one loss, let's take a look at the recap screen. 3-1 for us. We lose the Mets play, the SportsLine pay, but the sniper, this is not uncommon at all. He goes 2-0. Maestro hits his very early in the game. We were very reliant on that Phillies game, and it absolutely paid off. Speaking of Philadelphia, let's bring in the stars of the show because we got a couple Philly people in here. Propstarz, actually all three of you. Propstarz, Martin Green, Mackenzie Brooks. Martin, remind everybody, because I think people know that Propstarz is a Philly guy, that Ken's is a Philly girl, but people may have forgotten you are also a Philly guy, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I used to live in Philadelphia. I went to grade school there for a couple of years. A lot of families still live there, work at a casino there, so I go out there quite a lot and visit them. Big Philly sports fan, yeah.
All right, Martin. I didn't even know this.
I didn't know I could like Martin Green any more. This news is just absolutely mind-blowing, Martin. I can't wait to discuss the Philly connection further with you off stream, but that's just incredible.
Sounds great.
First of all, I think that's our show, folks. We can't have 3 Philly people on the show. We got a DC native in here, so at least we balance it out a little bit. Moshi, Philly, a bunch of exclamation points. There's a lot of Philly people that I know that are in the chat as well. Mackenzie Brooks, you came today, and we're not going to get your pick right now, but with a football prop for Thursday Night Football, and I believe you have an MLB play as well. But I just got to, we got to give you a little bit of a pat on the back, and perhaps you give yourself a pat on the back because you smashed WNBA yesterday, correct?
I did. We had a nice 2-0 night. If you tune into CBS Sports HQ, typically giving out picks on that. We don't have it on the site, so try to find me on Twitter. Try to find me on HQ. That's typically where we're dishing them out. But this is the time to get on board. Odds makers are kind of, laying off the WNBA, putting their eyes on football, and that's when we start to get some good lines here.
Speaking of all eyes on football, the Procore Championship, a lot of you think golf is just not going to happen until January. Not true. I'm about to give out my first round leaders. In about 10 minutes, you'll be hearing the first round leaders for the Procore. And I've actually got a play on today's show, a top 40 play that I really like for the Procore. Again, that'll take place tomorrow. It's out in California, so it's later tee times. And of course, it concludes on Sunday. Martin Green, let's talk soccer. Let's talk the pitch. Let's get into some picks. You get us started.
Thank you very much, Sia. Unfortunately, there's no real soccer taking place today, so I've had to look a little bit further ahead in the week. La Liga resumes on Friday, and I think that Real Betis should be too strong for newly promoted Leganes. Betis have made a slow start to the season, but they remain one of the best teams in Spain. Quality players like Victor Roque and Giovanni Lo Celso in their ranks. Pellegrini is an experienced manager. He really should be able to guide his team back to winning ways in this one. Leganes have been full of energy in the opening weeks of the campaign. That often happens with newly promoted teams that go up to the top division. But I do think that Real Betis' superior quality and technical ability should shine through here. So I'm going for a Real Betis moneyline win at -135. If you want more value, you can go for Real Betis and under 4.5 goals, which should bring it closer to about -110. And then looking ahead to the weekend, one game that really stands out is Southampton versus Manchester United at St Mary's on Saturday. Southampton have made a shocking start to the season. They've lost all 3 games so far, just 1 goal scored and 5 conceded. Things haven't gone well for Man United either. They suffered a humiliating defeat to Liverpool last time out. But this really looks like a golden opportunity for them to secure a morale-boosting win. I think they should be just too good for Southampton in that game. So I've got Man United at -125. Again, if you want more value, I'd go for Man United to win and over 1.5 goals, which would bring it closer to even money.
All right. Scott Y says, hit the like button. Please do that for Martin, for Mackenzie Brooks, for Alex, for me, and Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s. Martin's voice is so soothing, says Joseph Rackett. And somebody else said, I wish Martin Green was the voice of my Alexa. Martin, your response, is that in the works?
I have had discussions with Jeff Bezos. We're at a tentative stage right now, but I'll keep you guys updated.
All right, we gotta tag Jeff Bezos in all our tweets. I'm sure he's gonna see it. We got to get Martin Green as the new Alexa. Brian Grebin says Cubs team total over 3.5, and there was somebody. It says Rick Funcannon here. He says, Proppy, thanks for that Kirby under 5.5 Ks prop on HQ yesterday. I parlayed it with the Padres money line and cashed plus 210. Like Mackenzie Brooks said, we can't fit all the picks for an entire day on a 25-minute show. So you can catch us on Twitter, of course, but specifically on CBS Sports HQ, CBS Sports Network. And of course, if you're a member at SportsLine, you're going to get about 98% of these picks because you get them when we put them out. If you want to put those picks in, go to BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. All right, speaking of prop stars, speaking of unders, we got to get to your pick, Proppy, and we're going to do it right after this message from our partners.
You hear that? It's the steady pulse of the world's game that's turning fans into family and sports into passion. You hear that? It's the heartbeat of American soccer. The USL on CBS Sports Network.
We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Somebody in the chat, Proppy, said, Propstarz is the best with props, hence the name. But no pressure. If you're the best, that means this one's got to hit, right? What's your play today?
That's right, Sia. Yeah, what's up, chat? Shout out to the chat. I'm going to the diamond here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to fade Oakland A's starter Joey Estes. We're going under 17.5 pitching outs. That's fewer than 6 innings pitched for those of you keeping track at home. This is a big number for Estes, who's been under in 13 of his 21 starts on the season. Also a difficult matchup facing the Houston Astros. The Astros 27-19 since the All-Star break, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Offensively, they've been swinging the bats very well. Since September 1st, they rank second in Major League Baseball in OPS against opposing right-handed pitching. So they're in good form right now. Also, Joey Estes has struggled mightily pitching away from Oakland. His ERA is over 4 runs higher on the road compared to pitching at home. So this one checks all the boxes. I really am surprised it's not 15.5, 16.5 at most. I suspect because Oakland went into extras yesterday, the bullpen might be a little bit thin, hence why they need to get something out of Estes. But that being said, I don't think this line should be any higher than 16.5. So excellent value here. I think it's a great spot to fade him, especially close to even money. So we're going under 17.5 outs for Joey Estes.
All right, under 17.5 outs for Joey Estes. A lot of people in the chat are saying I'm running. I don't know if that's literal, running to put that in right now. People actually said that. Let's go to golf. Before we get to Mackenzie Brooks. I don't know why I use your full name all the time, like you're in trouble. Is there a middle name I can reference when I do that?
Mackenzie Rose. It has a nice ring. The whole thing. If you want to go crazy,
you're really in trouble now. Mackenzie Rose Brooks. Okay, we're gonna go to golf. We're gonna go to the Pro Tour. This thing starts tomorrow. It's out in California. Let's start with something fun. First round leaders. I've got a few here, actually 5, ranging from 30 to 1 to 110 to 1. I'm not going to go into huge explanation here. Needless to say, you got to make birdies here, and a lot of these guys can pop with the birdies. Some of them have some issues with the putter, like Neil Shipley, for example, who went to James Madison University, also Ohio State, I think. My point is first round leader, guys with that can sometimes pop with the putter, but sometimes not. That's where you want to maybe take them as a first round leader as opposed to a tournament play. Sahith Theegala should be no surprise. He's also a California kid. He's got great history here. Eric Cole, I love him to fill it up with birdies. Patrick Fishburne, not on everybody's radar, but I really like him. The ball striking is really good. He can pop with the putter. Same with Neil Shipley. Chad Ramey is out in left field. I mean, this is like $1 play, maybe $2 if you're feeling frisky. But I really like, sometimes people ask me, what are the 3 you like the most? It probably would be the top 3, Theegala, Cole, and Fishburne, but I am putting a few bucks on all of these. These are my first round leaders for the Pro Tour. My play for the Pro Tour, again, this starts tomorrow, is Mac Meisner. He's not on this list. Mac Meisner, the top 40. I actually like him as an outright. The only reason he's not a first round leader, he doesn't have a morning tee time. And I generally defer to morning tee times, better weather conditions typically, and better course conditions as well. Mac Meisner has been playing very, very well. He's a popular DFS play, very under the radar because he's just not a popular name. He hasn't been around too long. But I fully expect him to top 40. He's been having some really good finishes as of late. He's missed some cuts too. But in this field, I think Mac Meisner is really good, maybe even for a top 20. But I'll go ahead and take the safety with a minus 110. Play this up to minus 125. I believe it's at minus 125 in most places. You might still be able to catch a minus 110. But that's my play. No matchups. I might have a matchup for an 18-round matchup, or 18-hole matchup tomorrow morning. None stuck out to me today. I didn't want to force it. So Mac Meisner, top 40 for the Pro Court, minus 110 to minus 125. All right, Mackenzie, Rose, Brooks, you're only in trouble if you miss these, but if you don't, no worries, right? So talk to us about a baseball play and a Thursday night football play.
Yes, absolutely. Really quick, I saw a question about adding an Aces money line to a parlay. I like that. They just lost to the Liberty. I think it's a get-right spot for them. Outside of that game, they were having a nightmare post-Olympic break, and then they started to really turn it around the past few weeks. So I do like the Aces money line against the Fever. I know the Fever have been hot as well, but this could just be a little humbling spot for them. All right, on to baseball now. We got Diamondbacks money line here. This is just a simple play on a team that's great at home versus a team that's not great on the road, and the Diamondbacks are playing for a playoff spot. Texas is not necessarily. You look at Bradford on the road. His splits are not as good. His ERA on the road 5.3 compared to around 3.5 at home. So you don't like to see that. I understand Kelly's coming off an injury. However, he's still sub 3.0 ERA at home. So I like that for him. Again, minus 145. You can shop around for this price. Hopefully you can still find it before minus 150. And then we're going to go to the NFL for Thursday night football. I think this is a play you want to get plus money on now. This has been dropping and dropping since Sunday night. So I'd really get on this. Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. We have him projected for 1.8. So we have him hitting this in 55% of simulations. The fact that it's plus money is why I like it right now. I think people are overreacting to Stephon Diggs not being there. If I'm looking at this, it feels like his offense is completely open. I know they're not as talented as the Green Bay Packers receiving core, but it's the same situation where it's 3 to 4 to 5 guys on any given night. It's really hard for defenses to defend an offense like that. And for what it's worth, he's 29-22 this number on the road and had to against Miami in their last outing on January 7th. So again, I don't think this is going to stay above even money for long. I would act on this now while you can.
Yeah, I like this play. So this is interesting. It gives me a chance to lament my plight when, sorry for that phrase. I'm a lawyer. What do you want me to do? When we had Stafford out there against the Detroit Lions, because Mackenzie, if you recall, in Propstarz, I do have a follow-up with you because people in the chat are asking about Joey Estes under 16.5, whether you would take that, and we'll get to that in 1 second. But if you recall on that show, I said there was 2 bets I was toggling between, and I probably should have put both of them out. It was Matt Stafford pass attempts over 34.5. By the way, he hit like 45. That one came in so incredibly easily. The other one was Matt Stafford over 1.5 touchdown passes. And if you recall, he had one. He threw a terrible ball, which, before halftime, which was intercepted. And then they had 2 other touchdowns where there was PI in the end zone or near the end zone. So they just ran it in those 2 times. So I felt like I should have had 3 touchdown passes there. Sometimes that's the luck you get. But I do like Josh Allen here. I think one thing, Mackenzie, that's a little underrated too, is that it was pretty windy week 1. And I think you're obviously going to get, I mean, it can be windy in South Florida too, but that's not what the forecast is. It should be nice. It's going to be an evening game, so you're not going to get that incredible heat that you would get during the daytime. I just think the weather conditions weren't conducive to Josh Allen chucking it around like people expected week 1.
And I think it's worth mentioning as well, just I like the Bills as a whole. I have them on the money line. The SportsLine model has them winning this outright. You look at Keon Coleman, who, definitely exceeded expectations. I thought he played great. The other star rookie receiver outside of Worthy who played well was Brian Thomas Jr. He was going up against that Dolphins defense as well. So worth noting when you're going into this week.
Brian Thomas played a lot better week 1 than I anticipated. It could have even been a bigger game. All right, Propstarz, let's go to Estes. Do we take it at 16.5?
Depends on the price, but as long as it's close to even money, I'd probably play it to like minus 125. But yes, I would still play it at 16.5.
And Proppy, I know we're going to get so much football content from you. Obviously, you do the prop show, I believe, 5 o'clock every single Friday with EC and Uncle Dave Richard. And I know tomorrow night you're probably on the Thursday night football primetime show at 7:15 on this very channel. Turn your notifications on. With all that said, there's a game tomorrow night. Mackenzie has already, by the way, everybody loves the name Rose. I'm sure you're seeing all the comments. Mackenzie's already given out a Thursday night football play. Do you have it? It doesn't have to be a prop, but just in that game's, my initial instinct was Dolphins money line, like -130, -135. I've backed off that. It's not going to be an official play of mine. The model seemed to suggest where you're getting value on Buffalo, and I kind of get that. Where do you stand as a lean on the side, or maybe the total in this one?
I don't have a strong take on the side or total of this game, Sia. Primarily just focusing on props. Typically, I dive in a little bit on the sides, like as we get to the weekend. So, well, I guess this game is Thursday. So I'll be diving in, looking at the side a little closer prior to the stream tomorrow, where I will have a bevy of thoughts. But one name that I potentially am looking at in this game is Dalton Kincaid. I think he is a potential buy low candidate after putting up a dud in week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. I like him to potentially bounce back here in week 2. Had good route participation. I just think that game was more of an anomaly or an outlier than anything else. So I look at Dalton Kincaid as a potential value spot for props.
Big Cheesy says Kincaid anytime touchdown. I don't hate that one at all. Maybe we can hit that with one of Mackenzie's 2 touchdowns that she needs for Josh Allen. All right, we can't go to the recap screen without me asking you all the following. We're talking football, and you all are. This is the first time, maybe the second time actually. We've had 3 Philly analysts on the early edge, and basically nobody else. So Martin, I'm actually going to start with you. All right, Monday Night Football, which there'll be a primetime stream for that, just like Sunday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. So again, tune into this channel and CBS Sports HQ and the network for that. Falcons are +6.5 in Philly Monday night. All right, Martin Green, what's the play there? Who covers?
Eagles, easily.
Mackenzie?
Okay, this is not just a biased play, but I've been on the Falcons hate train since like June, so I'm definitely going Eagles here. I don't know why we're comparing Kirk Cousins to Peyton Manning. Like, it's got to stop. This is a career 500 quarterback. I don't understand what's going on here.
I will say this. I probably have a little bit more respect for Cousins than you do, but I got to give you credit. And it's only been week 1. So listen, this take can crash and burn so easily because I like the Falcons to win the NFC South, but you were the only person I recall saying, hey, the Saints are better than everybody thinks. They're going to sail over there. I think it was 7.5 win total. And the way they put it on, I mean, listen, it's Carolina. Like, that's like a SEC team at this point, as far as I'm concerned. But the way they put it on them, it really looked like the New Orleans Saints were a little bit better. It might be an overreaction. Just week 1.
Not an overreaction. Rashid Shaheed is awesome.
Yeah, you like him too. So I got to give you credit where it's due because, listen, the Kirk Cousins thing, I get why people like Atlanta, but you have been kind of fading them and been on a different NFC South team. I know a lot of people like Tampa as well, but Saints might be better than people think. Certainly better than I thought. Proppy, go ahead. What's the play on Monday Night Football?
Kirk Cousins, who I'm a big fan of personally, was not able to plant off of his foot. Velocity looked way down. Just some real concerning mechanics from Cousins throwing the football. So that was his first game action. He inexplicably didn't play in the preseason here. I want to wait a little bit before we sound the alarms, but that was definitely cause for concern. The way he looked in week 1. So might be a ways away from being healthy. So we might see Michael Penix faster than we thought because that was not adequate Kirk Cousins that we're used to seeing. So that was a shell of himself, in my opinion. So, if that's the same Kirk Cousins we're going to see in week 2, the Eagles are going to potentially rout this Atlanta team, in my opinion. If he's just shaking the rust off and he gets back to being the Kirk Cousins that we've seen throughout the majority of his career, particularly when he played for the Vikings, then it could be a competitive game. So I'm just going to wait and see. I lean towards the Eagles because I tend to think that Kirk Cousins is a bit further away than we thought. But that being said, some guys just need to shake off the rust, and sometimes it just takes one game to do that. I would also say Tampa Bay looks very good as well in that division. So not to take away from the Saints potentially going over their win total, but the Bucs have won that division 3 consecutive years, and they look like they might be as good as they have. And Baker Mayfield's playing very good quarterback right now as well.
One thing I might look at with Philly, I might look at them to cover the spread, but their team total I like too, especially since with the Kirk Cousins experience right now, and again, we might be overreacting to week 1, but I could see a turnover in their future, and I love how this offense is churning. I don't think the Atlanta defense is going to be able to stop it. So a team total over for Philly is something I'll probably look at earlier rather than later. All right, let's take a look now at the recap screen before we get out of here. I've got a Procore Championship play. You saw, this is not going to be on the recap screen, but you saw my first round leaders earlier in the show. But I've got Mac Meisner, top 40 at Procore, minus 110. Martin Green, Real Betis, money line, minus 138. Manchester United, money line, minus 125. Propstars, Joey Estes, under 17.5 ounce at minus 114. Mackenzie Brooks, Diamondbacks, money line, minus 145. And Josh Allen, 1.5 touchdown passes at plus 105. Ladies and gentlemen, what a show. What a great show that was. It felt like we covered more than I even anticipated. We got baseball, we got soccer later on in the week, NFL, so much more NFL coming your way. Again, not just the primetime shows, but the prop show, the CBS Sports Network show, which I believe is tomorrow at 2 o'clock, which we'll be talking about. And of course, we'll have Thursday night picks on the morning show tomorrow as well. A lot to tune in for. Thank you, everybody. Brad Morris, Big Cheesy, Ray Brown, Robert Frazier, Matt, Eric David. Thank you, everybody, for being in here, and thanks for always coming in here and immediately hitting the like button. We really appreciate it. On behalf of the guru, Martin Green, on behalf of Mackenzie Brooks and Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, everybody, let's cash some tickets. Let's have a great Wednesday regardless. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge, and we rest our case.